aspects. The most important aspect is the Dharma. The Dharma is, the Blessed One is perfectly expounded. What that means is it's so well taught that even today, after 2,500 years, we have no room. The teaching of the Buddha after he died, it was collected. After 3 months after the Buddha passed away, we're going to have that now. You see the Buddhist calendar, yeah? This year, we full moon day of May 19, enlightenment. June, July, yeah? 2 months later, the Buddha gives his first sermon. He teaches for the first time. We celebrate that. Immediately after that, the monks go into 3 months of retreat. They stay in the temples and they recite 3 months. 3 months after that, Athena. This timetable is already fixed. Okay? But what is my point here? When the Buddha passed away, after 3 months, for 7 months they stayed together, 500 months. They remembered all the teaching for 45 years, what the Buddha taught. They recited everything. They put it all together. Right? And then they didn't write down. They remembered, they recited. Yeah? Today, those things have come down to us. It is called the Pali scripture. Alright? The Buddhist scriptures contains, get this, 209 million words. 209. It's scientifically by computer in Bangkok. But 5 years ago in Bangkok they counted by computer, came up to 209 million words. My point is not that. Just because there's 209 million words does not make Buddhism great. Okay, the bigger the book, the better the, that only when you have Twin Towers and so on. But when we are talking about it, I challenge you to read that entire 209 million words and find one place where what the Buddha says here contradicts with what he says somewhere else. They have cross-checked. It's already done by computer in Bangkok. Alright? And they have cross-checked. There is not one thing that the Buddha says in one place which is contradicted elsewhere. Two things are there. The Buddha only spoke the truth, and because he spoke the truth, he could not contradict himself, number one. Those who remembered what he said also never contradicted themselves. That is the trick. And that is what it means by perfectly expounded. To be seen here and now. Ehi passiko. Yeah? Akaliko. To be seen here and now meaning you don't need to believe anything, you can test. Whatever we teach you, you can test now. Yeah? There's nothing to be believed. To be not delayed in time. Akalika. Meaning that you don't promise you happiness in the next life. We are saying whatever you practice, the results are immediate. We don't need to wait to go to heaven when we die. We can be in heaven now. Okay? That's right. Inviting one to come and see, not come and believe. Alright? Come and see. It leads onward, open-aiko, leads onward to nirvana if you practice the teaching of the Buddha. Okay? And then finally, to be known by the wise, each for himself. It is a private thing. Buddhism is a personal thing. It's not everybody believe together, everybody save together, everybody go to heaven in the same Airbus. Each of you has to make your own trip. Okay? So that is to be known each by himself. So we have talked about the Buddha, we have talked about the Dharma. Yeah? And these are the qualities of the Dharma. Itipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vijaya Charana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusanam Buddho Bhagavati. Swakato Bhagavata, Dhammo, Sanditiko, Akaliko, Ehi Passiko, Opanaiko, Pajaktang, Veditabbo, Vinyuhiti, Supatipanno. Okay? Then we come to the third one. So when we sit down, we say the first what we did just now, Namo Tassa Bhagavato, then we say Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang 3 times. Alright? Then we think of the Buddha. Okay? And it is not something that a lot of you, I notice when we are doing that, we say, oh, I came to temple, oh, I pray. And now how I pray? Itipiso Bhagava Arahan Samma That is not it at all. You are expected to take it one word at a time. Each word you must think, you must meditate. When I think of the Buddha, all those qualities of the Buddha must come to mind. When I think of the Dharma, all those qualities of the Dharma must come to mind. Alright? And of course you take it home and then you think about those things. So these formulas cannot save you. You try. You go to the main road after this talk, stand in the middle of the road and say, Itipiso Bhagavata. See what happens. You become pizza. Okay? Now, some bao, yeah? This is one bao, this is 2 bao. Okay? The third bao is Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Now, I told you the Buddha lived 2,500 years ago. The Buddha became the Dharma. When he passed away, the Dharma remained. But the Dharma remains, but how is it to be transmitted? Yeah, very important point, especially now we are coming to Katina. How is the Dharma transmitted? Very important. The Dharma was realized by the Buddha, taught by the Buddha, heard by the monks, remembered by the monks, recited by the monks. Now, for 100 generations, without a break, from memory to mouth to ear, to memory to mouth to ear, to mouth to ear, to mouth to ear, and finally it has reached to us today. The Sangha community, originally after the Buddha gave his first sermon, I told you 2 months after he gained enlightenment, in July, he gave the first sermon. Then the 5 people who were listening to him became the first Sangha, first monks. The Buddha gave it to them. Then they gave it to the next lot, and the next lot, and the next lot, without a break. This is one of the proofs that Buddhism, the Buddha actually did exist. Another useless piece of information, you don't have to remember this, but this is the only thing you will remember, I know. Do you know that a Buddhist monk's robe, yeah, Reverend Saranakara, a Buddhist monk's robe is the only piece of fashion that has never changed in 2,500 Armani and Gucci eat your heart out. Alright, but to come back. So the importance of the Sangha, they were the custodians of those 209 million words that have come down to us just by reciting. It got written after about 500 years, but the writing is not important. The speaking, that's why we always say evam me sutam, that's have I heard. Alright? Now, who are these Sangha? Yeah? The Sangha originally consisted of the 5 monks. Alright? And they then became, there were, when the Buddha was enlightened, there were only 2 paths, Buddha and Dhamma. Okay, there were So when